Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is your host with the biggest nose, Jay-Z Courtside, coming at y'all today on June 12th, which is a Friday, Frisky Friday. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. No game last night, so today's show is going to be pretty self-explanatory. We're going to go ahead and preview Game 5, and we're going to talk about whether or not the San Antonio Spurs season ends on Saturday night, all right? Now, I do want to repeat. There's not going to be a show on Sunday. I'm being forced to go to church, so I'm going to have to go, all right? Just so that we can get a $2,000 discount for our wedding, because for some reason, this church is forcing us to give them $2,600 if we're a part of the parish. Usually, it's a donation to the church for wedding, not give us money or you can't get married here. But I digress. You guys don't care about that. You guys care about basketball. So speaking of basketball, today we're going to be previewing Game 5. And then on top of that, we are going to be talking about the last 2-minute report that released in the middle of the night. We're going to talk about things that really would have highly impacted this game. Not really. After that, it is Friday, ladies and gentlemen, and you guys haven't been giving me new toss-ups in the Discord channel. Now, like I said, I want to end every week with some fun toss-ups, all right? And the only way I can do that is by you guys submitting them into the Discord channel toss-ups, all right? Now, it's a good thing I got a lot of them stacked up. So thank you guys for submitting them like a week ago. Because of you, I'm able to even make this podcast somewhat of a long one. All right. Podcast listeners, be sure to leave a 5-star rating and review. I appreciate everybody for tuning in as always. If you're watching on TikTok and YouTube, be sure to drop a like, follow, subscribe, all that jazz. We do this Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern, unless the New York Knicks unless they win tonight. Because if they win tonight, podcasts this summer are going down to 3 a week. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? And remember, for everybody that is new here and you are celebrating your third stream in a row with us, your first third stream in a row, I will be gifting you a $6 subscription. So be sure to stick around till the end of this podcast. I appreciate you also very much. And remember, Friday streams are always quieter. And if you guys could help me, start watching on Fridays more. For some reason, Friday is always my slowest day of the week. So I appreciate everybody for clicking as always. Let's just get the show started, yeah? So Game 5 is tomorrow in San Antonio. The New York Knicks lead 3-1. Can the Spurs make a comeback? And the big question is, can they make the comeback? Can they win? Do they have what it takes to extend this series? Do they? Now, I will save my answer for the end of this segment, but I'm going to talk about, as I always do, what needs to happen for both these teams to win Game 5, okay? The New York Knicks need to actually play basketball. I think if they play basketball, they have a chance at winning this game. In the first half, I don't know what sport they were playing, but it wasn't basketball. And in the second half, they basically sat up on their chair and said, yeah, all right, we're not going to lose this game. And the funniest thing about a comeback is, and I talked about it yesterday, it takes two to tango, y'all. It takes two to tango. One team can't just start hitting shots and come back into the game. You need the other team to also miss every shot. So the Spurs allowed them to make that comeback. Shout out the Knicks. They said, you know what? We don't think you'll hit that many threes again in the second half. So we're just going to dare y'all to shoot even more. We're going to dare y'all to shoot even more. And they did, and the Spurs were missing. And it's like the Spurs didn't have any offensive flow at all in the second half. I talked about it yesterday. They only had they shot 8 for 39 from the field in the second half. 8 for 39. They also shot 3 for 20 from deep. So, I mean, you're begging to lose. You are begging to lose. On top of all of this, all of the mistakes and everything, like if I were to divide blame to all the members of the San Antonio Spurs, De'Aaron Fox would get the biggest slice of blame, right? 4 massive turnovers in the second half, the layup, everything, right? He would get the biggest slice of blame. I would also give a pretty large slice, probably just a little bit smaller of a slice, to Wemby. Wemby deserves a huge slice of that blame too. And he missed those 2 free throws. And I know he's 22. He's 22. It's a lot of pressure. I understand that. Fox is getting most of that blame because they needed you to be that 10-year vet. They needed you to make the right decisions. They needed you to not turn the ball over. And Wemby, this is the first time you had your two biggest shots of your entire basketball career, and you missed both of them. You missed both of them. Your entire offensive scheme was either throw an alley-oop to Wembanyama or chuck up a three. That's all they did in the second half. So not only did you not lead your teammates into getting that win, but you missed those two big free throws. You couldn't rally the troops when it was happening. And of course, De'Aaron Fox, it's unfortunate. Now, like I said, the blame is spread out for everybody. It's not Fox's fault for choking this lead. Like I said, he deserves a large slice of the blame. So does Wemby. He deserves a huge slice of that blame. Not bigger than Fox, but a huge slice. The rest of it, I'm willing to give to Mitch Johnson and to the rest of the teammates. Champagnie, you're incapable of scoring points in the second half. Vassell, you get no blame from me. But then Castle, bro, he was being aggressive. He wasn't scoring field goals, but he was playing aggressive and attacking the rim and getting to the free throw line and hitting all of his free throws. So if the Spurs want a chance at winning this game, you know what's insane? I said yesterday, LeBron James from 2016 isn't walking through that door. He's not. But you still have a 7'4", soon to be generational player in Victor Wembanyama. You still have that. And I know he doesn't have a go-to move. And I know he doesn't have an offensive bag. But you still have a 7'4" alien watching that paint. So for the life of me, as much as I want to say it's going to be easy tonight, and mind you, I haven't made my decision yet to share to you guys. I know who I'm picking to win game 5, but I haven't shared that yet. I also don't see Karl Anthony Towns getting suspended or OG Anunoby. I don't see one of those guys getting suspended because don't you forget, guys, that 3-1 comeback was sparked by Draymond Green getting suspended. Don't forget. So do you have OG Anunoby or Karl Anthony Towns or somebody that's getting suspended? Probably not. The only one that you could see getting suspended in this game is Victor Wembanyama, because if he gets one more flagrant foul, he gets suspended. Now, I don't think that's going to happen, though. So for the San Antonio Spurs, if you're relying on making three-point shots, don't show up to this game, okay? Don't show up. You can't do that. You can't just show up and spam away and chuck away and heave away and throw alley-oops to Wemby all game. You can't do that. Yes, Victor Wembanyama is one flagrant foul away from getting suspended. Yes, you're only allowed a couple, and he has, is it 3 now? Are you only allowed 2, Chet? He's got the elbow on Naz Reid. He's got the one against Cat. Yeah, so I think the 3rd flagrant foul, you get suspended in the NBA playoffs. If somebody wants to fact check me, go for it. But I know it's one more. It's 4. He has 2. Hold on. How? Let me validate this. If he gets one more, I know he's suspended. How many? It's 4 flagrant points. So yes, he got 2 flagrant points for the Naz Reid because he got ejected. Don't forget. Yeah, it's 4 flagrant points. So he got 2 against Naz Reid, right? And then the one against Cat. So he's at 3 flagrant points. So yes, one more flagrant foul and he's suspended. So he's got to really batten the ship here. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to you guys for reminding me that it's a point system. Yes, he got 2 for the ejection against Naz Reid, and now this one. So one more and he's gone. So Wemby's got to be careful. He's got to make sure he doesn't get upset. Now, for the rest of the guys, man, Dylan Harper, in my opinion, I know he's not going to start, but I've been saying it all playoffs. He should be starting. I've seen enough from De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox has not been what they needed, and it's truly unfortunate. It's truly unfortunate. I think if you guys saw the stat, I'm just going to point this out, and you know what? Forget it. I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to pull it up live so that I'm not lying, because you guys know I like getting all of my stats right, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and pull this up, and I want you guys to be amazed by this stat, because I know it's bad, but I just want to make sure I know how bad it is, all right? So when Fox and Wemby are on the court in the playoffs, they are plus 12.5, 12.3. Okay. When Dylan Harper and Victor Wembanyama are on the court together. Mind you, I want to check the finals. I wish this thing had a finals check. When Dylan Harper and Wemby are on the court, they are 13.4 positive. So a point better with Dylan Harper and Wemby rather than Fox and Wemby. I wish I could see in the finals because I've seen the finals stats. I just don't know what website it was. Basically, they were they were like 12 points positive with Dylan Harper, then De'Aaron Fox in the finals. So when I tell y'all it's that important, it is that important. Unfortunately, I can't give you guys an exact parameter. If somebody wants to find the plus minus for me in the finals itself, I know it's much higher when Dylan Harper is on because his defense and because his offensive prowess and because he attacks the rim. Okay. Now, I know what people are saying, and this is a great question from Anthony in the Twitch stream. He said, what do you think about starting Harper over Champagnie and running small ball? The issue with that is it's the hypothetical shot making from Champagnie that they can't put him on the bench. They can't. It won't work. Dylan Harper, with all due respect, is not going to hit 3 threes again. And you know what? They're still going to be daring Dylan Harper to take those threes. Champagnie being there is still stretching the floor. So unfortunately, you need to have Champagnie in the game as far as starting goes. So the San Antonio Spurs, man, and I'm just going to say this outright. I'm not going to see y'all until Monday, all right? If the San Antonio Spurs lose, I got to say this. It's a great season. This is a great season. Spurs fans, don't be deflated. The only reason you should be deflated is because you could easily be up 3-1 in this series too. Knicks fans, I think, will agree to that. If you guys didn't shoot yourselves in your own feet with your lack of experience, you guys could very well be up 3-1. You could. So Spurs fans, don't get upset about this. This is encouraging. You haven't made the playoffs in 9 years, okay? You haven't made the finals in what, 11 years? 10 years? No, 11 years. 11 years. You haven't made the finals in 11 years. Your core is unbelievably young. Do not be discouraged, okay? If you lose, do not be discouraged. But if you win, I think you should be very confident. I think you win. If you win game 5, I think it's time to get very confident, okay? They've proven that they can win at Madison Square Garden. The issue is, in my opinion, and let's start talking about the Knicks right now, okay? Now, this is a great comment from Charlie. You came to the Twitch stream and dropped the follow, so shout out to you, Charlie. Much love. You said if the finals ended today, who is the finals MVP for each team? That's a great question. Now, Charlie, do you see how you're in the Twitch stream and you got your first message read immediately? That's why you guys should come to the Twitch. Charlie, it's a great question. I'd say it's Brunson for the Knicks. And I'd say obviously it's Wemby for the Spurs. Okay, let's talk about the Knicks because what I just said is feeding us into that conversation. You guys know how I just said the Spurs lost, and they lost, by giving up the biggest comeback in playoff history? It's not OG because you can't forget what Brunson has done. Brunson still had 36. Brunson was still a huge reason why they even came back in the first place. They were down 29 and Brunson was still giving everything he got. Not saying OG wasn't, but Brunson still deserves it. This is still Brunson's team. OG's getting these points based off of Brunson's gravity. So let's not get this confused. OG has been very much more efficient than Brunson. In fact, I found the stat. OG Anunoby has scored 23 less points than Brunson in the finals on 56 less field goals attempted. Now, people are going to take that and run and say, Brunson's ass. But I think I can get a lot of points too if I'm playing off of Jalen Brunson's gravity and I'm getting left open, wide open for 3. Now, OG, that's not to discredit how great he is. OG is amazing. He's incredible. But this is still Brunson's team. And without Brunson, they don't come back. They don't. Take Brunson off that team. Do they come back from 29 down? Bro, they don't come back from 10 down without Brunson, with all due respect. They do not come back from 10 down. All of these games, they've been down double digits. None of these are games without Jalen Brunson. So Jalen Brunson is still my finals MVP, no matter how great that tip-in was from OG Anunoby, right? OZ Pack in the Woods, thank you so much for the follow on Twitch. I appreciate you very much. Now, Yeah, it's like Cade, and I've made this comparison so many times when talking about a great point guard. He requires so much attention, so most people around him are going to look great. Precisely. Or the people around them are going to look horrible, like Cade. So like that's a great point. You know what I mean? It's a great point. Now, do you guys know how I want to say my point because I was about to start spitting, bro. Listen. You guys know how I just said the Spurs could easily win this game? They could. They got Wemby, right? They have the capabilities. They've shot themselves in the foot for all of these losses they've had. You know how I just said that? The main reason that they lost was because of inexperience, right? Well, there's a flip side to this. C-Dub, thank you so much. I'll thank you more after this podcast, so be sure to stick around. Thank you for the gifted sub on Twitch. Much love. You should have subbed yourself so you don't get any ads, but go off. I appreciate it regardless. The Spurs lack experience, right? But they still made it to the finals. The issue is they just got blown out. Well, they didn't just get blown out, but they blew a huge lead. They blew a huge lead. And with that inexperience comes the flip side. The New York Knicks have blown out every single one of these teams in closeout games in these playoffs. So if I'm a Knicks fan, I'm thinking about this and I'm going into this game and I'm thinking they're a young team. Punch them early and they won't be able to fight back. You've heard me say this a lot. If the Knicks can come out of the gates, have their best first quarter in the series, if you punch the Spurs after blowing a lead like that, it's going to be incredibly difficult to come back into the game. Now, I've already talked about the Spurs. So I'm going to read a couple comments from the TikTok and show you guys why I don't read the TikTok chat. Spurs win, man. The Spurs won't let that happen. No blowout. Spurs win, man. Hush. I've already talked about the Spurs. So if you guys missed what I said, you should have been here earlier or go listen to my podcast on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple. Because I'm giving reasons for both of these teams to win the game. Okay? I've already given the reasons why the Spurs can win this game and what they have to do to win this game. Now I'm giving my reasons why the Knicks will win. So I'm giving both my reasons, and then I'm picking my answer at the end of this, okay? So for those of you who are getting insulted, eat my ass. OZ, I saw that, and I'm going to talk about that, okay? C-Dub, thank you so much for the resub as well with the Prime Gaming sub. I appreciate you, bro. You're showing me a lot of love. I'm showing how each team... Why am I explaining myself, bro? I've done this all playoffs long. I talk about before these games, in the preview games, what each team has to do to be able to win this game. I'm not explaining myself to you, TikTok. So, in order for the Spurs to win, in order for the Knicks to win, I think the best case scenario is to come out the gates, play well, punch them in the teeth, and I don't think they'll be able to fight back. I genuinely don't believe the Spurs will have enough to fight back. I think what you guys are forgetting is that these guys are human just like us, okay? I'm being told I don't know ball by the TikTok. All right, TikTok is minimized. If you guys want to talk with me, come through to the Twitch. TikTok, this is for you, y'all. That's for you. My point being with the Knicks is like, if you are a young team, if I'm 22 years old and something happens to me drastic in my life, right? It's going to be incredibly difficult for me to bounce back as a 22-year-old. And then as far as everybody else goes, you got to make sure that you are leading this ship, right? So for the Knicks, as experienced as they are, what they need to do is be that experienced team. You cannot stoop down to the Spurs level yet again. Because at the same time, when you're looking on the other side, when you're looking at your opponents and you're seeing the Spurs and what they just gave up and what they just fumbled, the biggest comeback in NBA history. When you see that, it's easy to say, yeah, you know what? We're going to go to San Antonio. We're going to get this job done, right? Knicks fans have supposedly purchased 50% of the arena's tickets in San Antonio. The fans are going to travel. You can't go down again in the double digits of the first quarter. You can't. I saw 35% of the tickets. I saw 50% of the tickets. I saw a bunch of them. My problem with this game is that you're looking at a future generational talent on the team that's down 3-1. And then on the other side, you have a bunch of guys who are playing like a well-oiled machine. So it's so difficult to say who's going to win this game. But after I've given you guys both ways each team can somehow win this game, the one that outweighs it, it's so difficult to choose. It's so difficult to choose, y'all. It's so difficult to choose. I'm not a gambling man, and I don't recommend you making bets off of what I say. Something in me tells me that the NBA script has the Knicks winning in New York. Something just tells me that they'll finish it in New York. It doesn't feel right by doing it in San Antonio. But maybe it does, and doing it in the away crowd. It's so hard to choose, y'all. It's so hard to choose. In my professional opinion, I have the Knicks sealing the deal tonight. I do. I think they're going to finish it. I think the Knicks are going to put the nail in the coffin. I can't wait to be here Monday morning and I'm talking about game 6, but I'm ready to be wrong. I'm ready to be wrong. I'm truthfully ready to be wrong. Tomorrow night, I have the New York Knicks winning. Sorry, I said today. Tomorrow night, I have the New York Knicks winning. Now, again, I've given both reasons. Each team can win. And all it's going to come down to is who punches first. And I'd like to remind y'all, I've had very bad luck at choosing in these finals. I've had very bad luck. Very bad luck. In fact, I'm one play away from being 100% right in these finals. One play away each game, bro. Each game. And I would like to remind all of y'all of one thing. Even if this series ends tonight, 10 years down the line, people are going to be talking about the 2026 New York Knicks. And they're going to be looking back and they're going to be talking about, man, that final sucked. It was done in 5 games, right? Don't get caught in that revisionist history. Don't get caught in that. Because this series, the New York Knicks have only scored 8 more points than the San Antonio Spurs. 8 more points. Every single game has been by 1 possession, y'all. The winning team has only scored more than 8 points, and they're up 3-1. 8 points more than it's. That's ridiculous. That's so close. That's how good this series has been. I won't be told otherwise. I won't be convinced 10 years from now that this series sucked, because it hasn't. Do I see the Knicks coming in and smoking them? No, I don't. But do I think that the Knicks have just enough to get it done again tonight? I think I do. Now, if we do have a game 6, get excited. Get excited because they're headed back to New York if that's the case. That's ultimately what I'm taking, okay? I'm excited. And if you want to watch this game with me, if you want to watch this game with my community, if you want to make friends who know basketball, be sure. Did I say tonight again? I don't know. Tomorrow night. Sorry, guys. You know what the fuck I mean. Eat my ass. Literally eat my ass, TikTok. Eat my ass. Slurp it up. All right? We're live on Twitch. Fuck y'all. I'm ending the TikTok. All right? Fuck all of y'all. Bye. We're live on Twitch. Jay-Z Uncut on Twitch. So, we are... Sorry, y'all. I don't mean to swear. You guys know this is a family-friendly podcast. I'm done with the TikTok for the week. I just can't do it. The views aren't worth it today. The views aren't worth it. I'm sorry. I know we were going to hit 70 viewers again, but I don't care. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's just not worth it today. It's Friday. I want to have a good day, bro. That's all I got to say on this series. We'll see, man. We'll see. It's going to be very interesting. Now, I wanted to talk about in depth, extensively, about the last 2-minute report. Apparently, Stephon Castle on that baseline did not step out of bounds. Also, Victor Wembanyama should have been called for 3 seconds with 1 minute and 26 left. So the Knicks had an opportunity to get in one more free point, and the Spurs had an opportunity to miss another shot. Do I believe that this would have changed anything? No. No, I don't think it would have. The Spurs choked a 29-point lead. I don't think that would have changed anything, but at the end of the day, I don't have a glass ball to rub and give me the answers to things. So, hey, maybe it could have changed something. Maybe if Stephon Castle didn't get ruled that he stepped out of bounds, maybe that would have changed something. In my opinion, I don't think it changes anything. I don't think it would have changed anything. The Knicks had the game won at that point. I think my favorite what if story, my favorite one, is if the Knicks lost that game and it's because Josh Hart missed that layup. I think that's my favorite what if. What if that happened? Like, favorite what if of this series, of course. We're 2-2 and we're going back to San Antonio. Josh Hart can never show his face in New York again. That would have been unbelievable. That's like my favorite what if to just ponder about. It's unbelievable. If they lost on that, now it's just going to get forgotten. It's going to get forgotten. It's going to get forgotten. I've talked about De'Aaron Fox shooting the layup 100,000 times. I don't need to talk about 101,000 times. No, he would not be allowed in New York ever again. It's already forgotten. It is, because it doesn't matter. It's already forgotten. It literally does not matter. In all of NBA history, we'll remember it because it'll be what if, you know? But it didn't matter. So it already doesn't matter. Just like Brunson shooting like shit this series. Doesn't matter. They're up 3-1. Doesn't matter at all. Yeah. There was another thing that I thought of the other day, and it was the fact that, like, De'Aaron Fox and what he's done for this team. If the Spurs lose this series, because he has a chance to redeem himself. If they lose this series, you try to trade this summer, right? We'll talk about offseason. I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but like, just speaking a little bit into the future, you try to find a suitable trade, right? Like, you lose a trade to get rid of him, right? Because you're not going to win a trade that involves De'Aaron Fox. You're not going to. You will lose that trade in however you write it. You lose that trade. I was talking about this game with a couple of my buddies at the gym yesterday, man, and one of them's a Spurs fan, and he was talking crazy about De'Aaron Fox. He was talking crazy about him. Yeah, a lot of slurs, but you know, he called him a certain word that only a certain group of people can say, but he is also a person that is allowed to say it. You know what I mean? Like, he's allowed to say it, you know? So he's not white, but like, what am I going to say? Like, hey man, you know, okay. Anyways, and not the playful version of the word either. You know what I'm talking about. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, it's Friday, right? We talked about this. We talked about the preview. We got the Knicks winning tomorrow night. TikTok would be losing a gasket with what me just saying tonight. They were losing it. They were getting so pissed off that I was saying tonight. Tomorrow night. The last thing I have planned for us today is our Friday toss-ups, y'all. Friday toss-ups. Ooh, my credit just went up. Hell yeah. We're going to talk about our Friday toss-ups today. All right. Now, in case you guys are unsure of what toss-ups are, you go into my Discord server, you know, the same server that you can watch these games with. You can like watch these games with us tomorrow night. You can hang out with us, talk basketball with us, learn more basketball. There's a toss-ups channel where you go in there, and in podcasts where we don't have a whole lot going on, mainly on Fridays, especially during the NBA season, we're going to be cranking these out every Friday. Okay. Be sure to share a story in the toss-ups channel. Share a story about something that happened to you or just a random story. And then flip that, like, answer your story with something. So if you say, Jay-Z, Jay-Z, I was walking down the street and I shit myself. Has there ever been a time that you felt so embarrassed that you had to just sprint home? Something like that. It's easy. It's that easy. It just comes to me just like that. So Shout out to everybody who participated in these toss-ups. Let's get into it. All right. And of course, you get your name, your username, everything's showing up, right? I already talked about that, OZ. I already talked about it. Y'all, please, guys, please open your ears. Please open your ears. For the new people that come in, right? For the new people that come in, you got to understand. I talk about things when they fit to be talked about. See, now I'm doing my podcast. These are the whole point of these interactive podcasts, bro. These are the whole point with the interactive podcast is so that it flows nicely. But then when I'm talking about the finals, somebody comes in and says, do you guys think that Stephen Curry can get one more championship? No, we're not talking about that. So no, I'm not going to read it out loud. It only helps. No problem. It only helps when you guys talk about something that has a point to be talked about. Like if I say Brunson needs to do this, and then Anthony says Brunson has done this, or you remember on this date, blah blah blah, he did like that. Sorry, sometimes I got to teach people how I want this interactive pod to go. Anyways, B Swanee with the first toss-up of this Friday. B Swanee said, I was hate watching the Canes last night. This is from last week. And when they tied it up late in the game, I got chills watching the celebration and crowd erupt as a fan of the puck in general. Jay-Z, have you ever gotten chills or felt that feeling watching a team you absolutely hate hit a game-clinching shot or similarly impactful event as a fan of the game? It's a great question, Swanee. That's a great question. Thank you so much for the story and the question. This one is different. As you guys know, I hate the Pacers. I'm a Pistons fan. I'm supposed to hate the Pacers. I'm supposed to wish their absolute demise at all times. I hate the Pacers. And last year, right? This guy said, unfollowed and I'm out. You weird as fuck. Hey, OZ Pack, nobody gives a fuck about you, your family, or where you reside, bro. Eat my ass. Let's continue with this podcast. Stick to TikTok, you bum ass motherfucker. Hey, shout out Spotify, YouTube, and Apple. You guys really do get the premium content. I don't know why I'm weird, chat. I don't know why I'm weird for telling him just stay on topic. And he said, unfollowed, I'm out. You weird. Why did he switch up like that? That's so weird. I'm weird. Why did he switch up like that? Why did he switch up? I don't get it. He said, wait, Jay-Z, talk about the 50% of fans being from New York, New Jersey. And I said, I did. And he said, oh shit, must have missed it. I was making eggs. LOL rip. Sorry, sir. Unfollowed. I'm out. You weird as fuck. Another Knicks fan. Chat, we have banned. So we're gonna talk about this, bro, this summer, bro. We have banned quite a few people in this season. My first season doing this. But none more than Knicks fans. Knicks fans have been banned the most. Celtics fans probably second most. No, Pistons fans are probably second most, bro. I banned a lot of Pistons fans because they're idiots. Yeah, these Knicks fans are not. And by the way, sorry, before Anthony yells at me, these Knicks fans, Anthony hates when I call those guys actual fans. So he makes me add the quotation marks ahead of all the guys outside breaking shit, talking shit, being racist. We've banned 4 Knicks fans just this week. 4 of them. Anyways, Swanee, your toss-up. Let me continue. I'm supposed to hate the Pacers. But last year, I was still in my I hate Jalen Brunson phase. Of course, they beat us. But I acknowledge how great Brunson is. But I was still hating the Knicks. So last year, it was in that comeback. It was in that comeback from the Pacers. And I'm seeing Nesmith hit a shot. And I'm like, Nesmith, I need one more, bro. Nesmith gives me one more. Somebody else. Nemhard gave me one more. Nemhard. Hallie, he gives me one of them. And then Nesmith again. And I'm saying, I just need one more, y'all. And then Halliburton did it, sent it to overtime. And that was the first time where I genuinely got chills for the Pacers. Good chills. Like scared chills. Scared chills. Ladies and gentlemen, I wasn't making basketball content last season. So I was just watching this and talking about it in the Discord with the 3 fans that I had of the NBA. Beezy, Solo, and Newsom. Those are the only guys we had in here that actually watched the NBA. So I was watching this in bed. And I thought, oh my God, I'm rooting for the Indiana Pacers now. It was the most incredible game. It was so much fun. Yes, I've said this countless of times. This is my first ever season of covering NBA content. Yes, I've talked about this 100 times. And Stun, who didn't watch basketball all year, given his takes on why the Oklahoma City needed that championship. People are killing each other, Jay-Z. We need this. What are you fucking talking about, bro? What are you talking about? What is a championship in the NBA gonna? Well, how's that gonna stop people from what? So, Swanee, thank you so much for that toss up. Let's go ahead and move on to our next one. Up next, we have one from our Knicks fan, Anthony. He said, there's so many players I wish I could watch in today's NBA. Michael Jordan, Allen Houston, good pull, Charles Barkley, Steve Kerr, and even recent players like Ray Allen or Allen Iverson. Jay-Z, if you could pick one player to put in this era, who would it be? I don't think there's... Can I be honest with everybody? There's 2 I would go, but I'm going to just say one. I'm putting Grant Hill. I'm putting Grant Hill in today's NBA. In case you guys don't know, I also have a documentary YouTube channel. It's Jay-Z Uncut, and I make documentaries, right? And I just completed a recording of big injuries in the NBA. And I was watching Grant Hill pre-injury highlights on the Pistons. And I now understand why when you say the name Grant Hill in Detroit, people grab their chest and they look like it's hard to breathe. Because Grant Hill, what he was supposed to be, was generational. The only comparisons Grant Hill was getting was Michael Jordan. There was nobody else that you could see his level of talent reaching. People, and I talk about this in my documentary, my dad, my older cousins, the way they talk about Grant Hill is like when you talk about a relative that's passed on. It's like they had it ripped away from them. He was supposed to be on the Mount Rushmore. And I think Grant Hill, with how athletic he was, with how well his pull-up shot was, I think just adding that little 3-point shot, I think he would be the best player in the NBA right now. I think he would be. I think he's easily averaging over 30 points a game. I think he's the best 2-way player in the NBA. He had a great jump shot, but all he needed was to have the green light. Grant Hill was like that, man. He was on the conference finals team of the Phoenix Suns. He was a great vet on that team. Years after his injury, he really changed his game after those injuries forced him to. Anthony, thank you for that question. Thank you for the story. I appreciate you very much, bro. Thank you. Grant Hill was playing on a torn meniscus, I believe. I'd have to look back at my script, but he was playing on a torn... No, was that Penny Hardaway? No, Penny Hardaway was playing on a torn meniscus. Grant Hill, I have to look at my script. It was something else, but it wasn't managed correctly. It was an injury that was not managed correctly. He played in the playoffs on it, and it only got worse. All right, guys, our next toss-up is Kai. Kai, our Raptors fan, said, as a Raptors fan in 2019, it was a special year as we had Kawhi, Lowry, and Fred VanVleet, just to name a few. What's your most memorable moment you witnessed in the NBA? Most memorable moment? You know, I guess it's my first memory. My first memory of the NBA is Chauncey Billups hitting that half-court shot against the New Jersey Nets, sending the game to overtime, and that game ended up going into 3 overtimes in the playoffs. The Pistons lost that game in triple overtime because Brian Scalabrine scored 17 points. Everybody was fouled out. I think 4 of Detroit's starters were fouled out. The game went into triple overtime in the playoffs. Brian Scalabrine had 17 points, and he was like their 12th man off the bench. My most memorable game would be that game. Chauncey Billups had the half court shot to send it into overtime and ended up going in 3 overtimes. The Pistons lost that game, but they won the series. And that was the same year that they won the NBA championship as the greatest underdog. They also got revenge against the New Jersey Nets because the New Jersey Nets swept them in the conference finals the year before. So I think I'm going to go with my first ever memory. But yeah, it makes sense why 2019 is definitely your favorite memory, Kai. Even though you're not in the stream, it makes sense why that's your favorite memory. I mean, that's the best memory you could have as a Raptors fan. We got 2 more, ladies and gentlemen. We got a long one from Liam, who I don't know if he's here. Liam said, this is last week. He said, yesterday I woke up at 6 a.m. and I had so much to do between work and errands and other things that I forgot I had an event with my brother he planned. So I had to attend that, and I didn't get home until 3 a.m. When I went to sleep, I usually don't sleep that long, but I didn't wake up until like 9:45. Have you ever had a moment when you felt like you were going 100 miles per hour, and then when you finally wake up, feels like you ran through a wall? And then he asked another follow-up question, and what do you do to remember what all you have to do that day? Great story, great question. Well, it's a good thing it's Men's Mental Health Month, right? Right? I'm not good at managing stress levels. Absolutely, it can be non-basketball questions. So shout out to Lee for giving me one. I'm not good at managing stress. I'm not. I can admit I'm not. I let everything cloud my head, stress out to the point where it's like, bro, oh, was May Mental Health Month? Whatever, it's Pride Month. It's still for the boys, bro. It is June. All right, thank you guys. Thank you. I overthink over everything. And you know what I do? I put myself in these situations. For example, I needed to record this video, the worst injuries of all time. I needed to record this by yesterday. It needed to be done yesterday. Even though I had a week and a half, I've had that script done for a week and a half. Josh was in Amsterdam, my editor. So I said, fuck it. I'll wait until next week. Even though I could have gotten it done a week and a half ago. And I waited until the very last day to record. And yesterday I was incredibly stressed out. Oh, it is May. Okay, thank you, Anthony. So Mental Health Month is in May. So I waited till the last minute. And of course, I was so stressed out because I had so much work to do. So it's my own fault. It's my own fault for pushing it till the very last minute. So you're asking me if I've ever had a moment. That's a moment. I don't think I've ever had like that big of a moment. Maybe work. I had like a huge meeting at work, and I had a big presentation. So I didn't really sleep well that last night. But yeah, bro, it's all self-inflicted for me. Take care of your mental health, folks. And then the follow-up question, what do you do to remember all you have to do that day? I stress out about it like bro, I am at all points of time. Yesterday, for example, when I ended this podcast, when I ended the stream, I was like, okay, I'm going to go take a shit for 30 minutes. Even though I was done in 5 minutes, I just chill on the toilet. It's my me time. I'm going to go shit for 30 minutes. I'm going to get up. I'm going to go to my computer and I'm recording that video and I'm not stopping. After that, I'm going to the gym. After that, Artie will probably be home by now and we can do the rest of our day. And guess what? I did exactly that. Went to the gym after my recording session, came back. It was 100 degrees out, 115 with the humidity. We walked Reiner like at 8 o'clock because it was still hot. Still hot as hell. It was still 93 degrees at 8 o'clock. And that's how I go about my day. I just remind myself throughout that, I just stress myself out. I have too much stuff on my head to the point where I'm about to explode. Nobody make a Middle Eastern joke. All right, somebody can make a Middle Eastern joke. Go for it. I threw an alley-oop to you, bro. Finish it. And that's how I go about my stress. That's how I go about my stress. I'm very bad at managing my stress, and I got to be better. I got to be better. I really got to be better. And see, that's exactly what I said, Anthony. Anthony, you said May is mental health awareness. June is men's mental. Go back into the podcast. I will put $100 on it that I said men's mental of June. Go back, because I guarantee you I said it's men's mental month awareness. Go back. And you're stressing me out, Anthony. You're stressing me out. Look. Yeah, you bet your biscuits you were wrong. Thank you, Liam, for the non-basketball question. I appreciate it a lot. Now we have another basketball question. You guys got to give me more non-basketball questions. We got Ben. One of the best voices in the entire community, like actual voices. He sounds so cute. Ben said, there are so many high school mixtapes out there. Zion, Mac McClung. I don't remember Mac McClung's. John Wall, etc. My favorite is Akil Carr. Who's your favorite? That's a great question. My favorite high school mixtape. I'm going Zion Williamson. I'm going Zion Williamson. I will never forget that, man. I will never forget that. Zion, bro. Dennis Smith Jr. was also insane. Good call, Quay. Man, Zion. Yeah, Lonzo's tape. It was between Zion or Lonzo that I said, right? Okay. I'm going to do a bonus toss-up. It's another basketball one. I'm gonna do a bonus one, okay? Please, guys, I need more toss-ups for next Friday, all right? So you guys have a week, all right? You guys have a week. And by the way, Butler, you asked if I've done yours. I did not do yours because Anthony asked me the same question last week. So I just didn't want to do the same one again. Okay, I'm going to do one bonus one. I usually do 5 of these. We're going to do 6 today, all right? Because this one is just too iconic. This one's too iconic, all right? Quick. Shout out to Quick. He said, a wise man once said, Rodney Stuckey off the dribble drains the deuce. That's George Blaha, Pistons commentator who's been doing it for 50 years. You said it yourself. You thought that current Pistons roster was the future. I did. Jay-Z, where do you think the Pistons went wrong with that young core and the dark days of the Pistons back then? That's a great question. How much time do we got, bro? So in case you guys don't know, funny enough, there's a network of podcasts called Locked On. The Locked On. There's Locked Ons for every team. If you guys want to listen to a fucking idiot represent your team, go listen to the Locked On for your team because I promise you they're fucking stupid. Now, the Locked On podcasts, no offense, of course, they are forced to keep their podcast under a certain length. You can't speak longer than you can. They give you a time restraint. On top of that, in case you don't know, they spam you with ads. I'm not talking about YouTube ads. I'm not talking about the normal generic ads that Google hits you with. I'm talking about you start watching that podcast. They talk for 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Imagine this. Imagine I did this. They talk for 5 minutes and then they give you 3 minutes of ads of them just reading a script off of an ad. And then they talk for 5 minutes and then they give you another 5 minutes of ads. And then they talk for 5 more minutes and then the podcast is done. You're watching the Locked On podcast sponsored by blank. The reason why I mentioned this is because Quick's question, where do you think the Pistons went wrong with that young core in the dark days of the Pistons back then, is because I can't keep this segment under an hour. I truly believed, and it could be my ignorance of my youth, I truly believed that Rodney Stuckey, Will Bynum, Jason Maxiell, Greg Monroe, Andre Drummond, Brandon Knight, Ben Gordon, Charlie Villanueva, Josh Harrelson, DeJuan Summers, Austin Day. I believe that team could have done something, especially Rodney Stuckey. I've never been so sure of one thing in my life, that Rodney Stuckey was going to be a star. And what went wrong was just simple management. Your team was nothing but young guys, and you had a couple vets, but the vet you brought in was punching the young players. You were not bringing vets who were leaders. You brought in Corey Maggette, who punched the absolute dog piss out of Kyle Singler. And Kyle Singler now is a schizo. And Corey Maggette never played in the NBA again. You brought in vets like Ben Gordon, whose one job was to just score. That's all he cared about. You brought in Charlie Villanueva, who wasn't good at basketball. And I don't think that they had the right coaching behind these teams, man. You drafted Greg Monroe in an era that back to the basket big men were dead. You drafted Brandon Knight off of pure raw ability. Didn't work out. You drafted these guys over and over again and never built a team around them. So as much as I want to say Rodney Stuckey truly got cheated back then, it just, a lot went wrong. A lot went wrong with the Pistons of that era, man. And what's sad is, like, you know, that was my era. I can't claim the going to work Pistons, the Chauncey Billups, the Richard Hamilton, the Tayshaun Prince, Ben Wallace, Rasheed, Mehmet Okur, Darko Milicic. I can't claim that era. Antonio McDyess, I can't claim that. My era is Rodney Stuckey, Andre Drummond, Blake Griffin, Greg Monroe. That's my era. And you know what? I'm proud of it, because through all those years, in case you don't know how NBA 2K was played, you would just hop on Play Now and you would just play normal team versus normal team. That's how NBA 2K was. 2K9, 2K10, 2K11, 2K12, 2K13. All of those games, there was no park. There was none of that. Nobody played blacktop. You would just play team versus team. And I used to solo with the Pistons, and I used to win every game with the Pistons, with the Portland Trailblazers, with Brandon Roy, LaMarcus Aldridge, Rudy Fernandez, with the Toronto Raptors, with DeMar DeRozan, with the Kings, with Isaiah Thomas, DeMarcus Cousins. I used to do it. That was my era, man. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that's going to do it for today's toss-ups. I said today was going to be a short podcast, and it ended up running 53 minutes. I appreciate everybody for yapping with me and hanging out with me, man. I know today was a good show. I think a lot of you guys enjoyed it. I hope a lot of you guys enjoyed today's show, because I know I sure did. Guys, we are fresh out of toss-ups, and we're going to be doing another one next Friday. So I'm going to need y'all to submit some stories and questions and answers in the Toss-Ups channel in the Discord. Again, it's right here. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that's going to do it for today's podcast. I appreciate everybody for hanging out. If you guys want me to play some NBA of the Run, be sure to stick around, because we are still live. Everybody, I appreciate you all so very much. Tomorrow is Game 5 of the NBA Finals. The New York Knicks could get it done, or the San Antonio Spurs can survive yet another day. Regardless of that, we will be doing a watch party, as it could be the final watch party of the entire season. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, be sure to join the Discord if you're not in there already. If you missed any portion of the podcast today, or you want to catch up on any of the episodes in the past, be sure to type in !point podcast in the Twitch chat, or check out the description or the show notes wherever you're listening or watching this pod on. On top of all of that, I need to remind you guys, because the season might end over the weekend. During the summer, we are going to be doing podcasts 3 days a week. That's going to be the basic schedule: Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Now, this goes without saying, if Kevin Durant gets traded to the Shanghai Sharks on a Monday night, we will be going live Tuesday morning. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that's all I have to say for y'all today, other than let's hope for some good basketball tomorrow night. And be sure to join the Discord so you can watch with that game with us in a watch party. I got nothing left to say except for thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for watching / listening. And I'll catch you guys Monday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. Love y'all. Have a blessed weekend.